Are you confused by color? If so, you're not alone. With most of the colored pencil brands having over 100 different colors, it's easy to feel like there must be the perfect color out there for each and every situation. And to create a masterpiece, all you need to do is to pick out the perfect color each and every time. But that just isn't true. I'm Lana Gloshaw, and I'm here to tell you there is no such thing as the perfect color. In fact, in most situations, there are tons of different colors that will work really well. And with a little bit of color theory and some practice, artists of all levels can pick colors that not only work, but actually enhance their drawing. I consider color mixing and color selection to be one of my greatest strengths as an artist, and in this video, I want to share some of my tips and strategies with you as I draw this goat. We're going to start by discussing overall color composition, and then we're going to dive into some specific strategies on selecting dark, mid, and light value colors. And make sure that you stay all the way to the end, because the last topic that we're going to discuss is all about selecting unexpected colors and using color to transcend the photograph. Now let's get started. The first thing that I want you to do when you begin a new drawing is to take a couple moments to really consider the color composition. And that is just how all of the colors are going to work together to either tell a story or to create a really compelling visual image. When I started with the photo reference of this goat, the goat was really the most important thing for me, and I didn't really care about the background details. I wanted this to be more of a formal portrait of the goat, so I eliminated all of the background and I replaced it with this color field. Now, I call it a color field because it isn't actually just one color uniformly applied throughout the background. It changes and shifts in value, color, and temperature depending on what part of the goat that it's next to. And I intentionally selected this green color because I felt that it would contrast really nicely against the reds and the oranges in the goat, and that it would also go really well with another piece that I recently finished of a pig. So I have this kind of farm animal series with similar color backgrounds so that they can hang together and act as a unified body of work. Once you have an idea for the colors that you're going to use in the background and the unexpected colors you're going to lean into in your subject matter, you can begin picking out a color for your pastel mat if you're using PASTELMAT, and you can begin laying in an initial sketch with color. I did all of this in a live demo for one of my in-person classes, so I'm not going to show that part of the process in this particular video, but if you would like to see that process in action, I will link one of those videos in the notes below. Once I've laid in a general base layer with my PanPastels, I switch over to colored pencil and I use colored pencil from here on out. After that PanPastel base layer is complete, I can now focus on details a little bit more. Here, I'm using a dark colored pencil to refine the details in the eye. Unfortunately, I am putting the eye in the wrong position. So as I draw this piece, you might notice that this eye looks a little wonky, and I didn't even notice this until later on in the process. Fortunately, I was able to fix it, and I'm going to show you the entire process for how I fixed and repaired those proportions in an upcoming video. But I did want to provide that little disclaimer that although we're going to be discussing colors, and I stand behind what I'm saying with color, the proportions are a little bit off in this particular area. For this particular drawing, I exclusively used Derwent LIGHTFAST colored pencils from the 72 set, but there are actually 100 colors now available, and they come in such a great range. Even in the 72 set, the colors are phenomenal. I really like using the Derwent LIGHTFAST colored pencils for animal drawings because of the great color selection and because they hold that really sharp point, which is great for laying in individual hairs. Okay, let's start by talking about selecting the darkest colors. Here I'm using a chocolate colored pencil, which is a dark, rich, warm brown. And I'm using this brown to map in the structure of the goat in this particular area and to lay in the shadows under these chunks of hair. I'm using brown instead of black because it allows me to push the value a little darker if I need to later. If I start with my darkest color, I have nowhere to go that's darker. Here I'm switching over to a color called Nightshade, which is a really dark violet. And I'm intentionally playing around with different dark colors so that I have a lot of interest and variety in my shadows. This chunk of black fur down the center of the goat's nose is cooler in temperature. So that's one of the reasons why I switched over to this cooler color, with the violet being cooler than the brown. For this particular area, I'm switching between my chocolate for my warmer darks and my nightshade for my cooler darks. And in some areas, I'm actually combining them together to create more of a mid-temperature color. Then I'm bringing in some mid values like my gray and a warm red brown to transition those darker colors into a lighter value. There is no need to use every single dark color that you have available. Best practice is probably to select 2 or 3 dark values that make sense in a particular area and to focus on those so that you don't overwhelm or confuse your viewer. When it comes to selecting your mid value or your transition colors, those colors that transition your areas from the dark to the light, you can play with color a lot. Most of your high intensity colors, like your bright reds, bright blues, bright yellows and greens, those are going to be your mid value colors. So you can really push the intensity and the chroma if you want to in these areas. Before drawing the neck, I wanted to take some time to understand what's actually going on in that area. And what is happening is we've got an area in shadow, and there are both red and white hairs mixed together. So I begin by laying in some of the darker red hairs in that area. But for those white hairs, I'm not just going to pick up a white and begin laying in light hairs. These hairs are in a shadow, specifically a cool shadow. So I'm looking for a cool mid-value color for those lighter hairs. And I selected a lavender colored pencil. I could have gone with a light gray, but this lavender is going to add color, interest, and variety to this shadow in a way that gray just wouldn't. On the flip side, if I decided to do the entire neck in just lavender, that would be really confusing and wouldn't be very cohesive with the rest of the fur. So I'm definitely bringing in some of the other colors, including the gray colors that I used in the face, into the neck. That allows me to blend the high intensity color, like the lavender, in with more neutral colors that I've used throughout the rest of the composition. I could have gone with a light blue in the neck instead, or I could have gone with different warm browns that I'm adding back into the fur in the neck. There isn't a right option, but it is important to look at your drawing, to respond to what you have, and to really be thoughtful about the way that you're laying in color and how it works as a whole. If you've been enjoying this video so far, be sure to nudge that like button so that the algorithm knows to share this video with more artists. Thanks so much. When you're working with a small set of colored pencils, it's very common not to have a huge range of light value colored pencils. In the 12 and the 24 sets that I've seen, you usually only get white, and when you go up to a 36 set, you might have a white and maybe a light gray and possibly a light peachy tone, but that's usually it. And that's one of the things I love about having a larger colored pencil set to work from, is the options that you have when it comes to light value colors and to neutral shades in general. If you don't currently have a large set of colored pencils and you don't have the means to invest in a large set at this time, go to a local art supply store and select a few colored pencils open stock just to make your own selection a little bit more robust. And I strongly encourage to pick up a couple light value colored pencils. Having some light blues, some light peaches, and especially like a light lavender and light pink can help you create so much more interest in your light value areas and won't force you to rely so heavily on just white. The lightest values in this goat are found in the lightest areas of the goat, the ears, the forehead, and the nose. And these areas are white fur, but because they are in space and they are being hit by a specific light source, they're not uniformly white. Sure, I'm using bright white on some parts, but in the shadow areas, I get to play around with color in a really creative way. When I'm looking at an area that has the local color of white and I'm analyzing the shadow, I consider, are those shadow colors warm or cool? Once I've narrowed down that in this nose, the shadows are cool, I can then start playing around with my cool colors. I can look at blues, violets, and greens. For this particular area, the blues worked a lot better, and using blue instead of gray or brown adds so much more interest to this area. I began with a darker blue, and I laid down individual hairs in the darkest part of the nose. I then looked through the rest of my colored pencil set and selected a couple other blues that I thought would help transition those darker blues into the lighter areas of the snout of the goat. But if I had only used blue, it would have become too intense and wouldn't make sense with the rest of the goat. So I transitioned to a warm gray that would help neutralize some of those bright blue shades that I had laid in. I also came in with some neutral violets, which would warm up some of the areas that got a little too cool. Once I established the color in the snout, I began coming in with some darker neutrals and some lighter color. Here, I'm using that Arctic color, which is a really light blue, to begin adding the highlights into the lightest part of the fur. So as I'm working out of the dark shadows in the nose, I am beginning to add lighter value colors, but I don't jump right to white. I try to save my whites as long as possible so they really have that punch and impact at the end when I need them. This is where I'm selecting my light value colored pencils like my light grays, my light blues, and my neutral colors, and I'm adding those into the fur. I usually begin in the shadow areas and then I work from dark to light as I transition to those lightest values, which I actually use white for. When it comes to selecting colors that are going to help your artwork transcend the photograph, you need to go beyond using those tools that match the color exactly for you and relying strongly on that. One of my favorite tools to use is the Arty app, and that app actually allows you to upload your photo into the app and to hover over different areas to see what colored pencil from either the Luminance set, the Prismacolor Premiere set, or the Polychromos set is going to be the closest match. If you use this tool, you'll be able to select a colored pencil that is going to look good in that area, that is going to be a good match. But only using this tool is going to result in a pretty flat, uninteresting drawing. You really need to use your artistic instincts and to select the color that is going to help your artwork the most, not just what the app or what the program is telling you is going to be the closest match at that time. We've talked about some strategies that allow you to pick your dark, mid, and light value colors and to push those colors a little bit more so that you're not relying so heavily on your browns, grays, and blacks. But if you are now interested in selecting color that really punches and makes a big impact, you're going to need to step way outside of those color pickers, and you're going to need to use your intuition, your instincts, and your artistic voice. Okay, so I'm moving on to the ear, and I'm going to handle it in a way that's pretty similar to the way that I handled the nose because I really want all the parts of my drawing to be cohesive. Now I'm starting with neutral colors first. These colors are probably going to be most similar to the colors that the app would suggest. And this allows me to lay down a really nice base layer and to establish the direction of the fur before I start committing to bold or vibrant color. With those neutrals and the structure now established, I am coming in with the blue colored pencil so that I can incorporate some of the color that I used in the nose as well. And I want to talk a little bit more about why I chose blue as this accent color in the white. Objects that have a white local color tend to be cooler in temperature. I want you to look up a snowy landscape painting and look closely at the shadows in the snow. Chances are the artist used blues and violets to add that depth in their snowy landscape. And using blues and violets in this white ear is similarly giving it depth, but also adding a lot of interest as well. Certainly, I could come in with grays and neutrals and use those exclusively, but I am interested in transcending the photograph, stepping beyond what I see in the photograph. And by using some blues and some brighter colors in both the ear and the snout, I'm able to make these areas more vibrant and interesting. When I originally looked at this photograph, I did see this brown goat, and I asked myself, how could I push the browns in this composition and make it more interesting? And I noticed that the browns were more on the warm side, so I decided to lean into oranges and reds when I was laying in the fur. Here I'm using a pencil called Mars Orange. It's a really rich red-orange color, and I'm using it as kind of a backdrop for my fur. I'm going to come in over the top with layers of neutrals and layers of lighter colors, but having that bright, bold color at the beginning adds a ton of depth. Choosing this red-orange also influenced the decision to put in this blue-green in the background. I took this red-orange idea and I asked myself, what is the complement of a red-orange? And a complement is the color that is directly across on the color wheel, and that's a blue-green. So I used this complementary color scheme to add a strong pop and strong contrast, which is going to create a really nice, bold visual impact for my final piece. And even though there really isn't any of this blue-green in the goat, adding that little pop right there on the side of the jaw creates more of that visual interest. In this video, I shared my strategies for selecting color to make a really bold visual impact in my artwork. But unfortunately, having really strong color strategy isn't ever enough to save really bad proportions. And in this particular drawing, I had some pretty gnarly proportion issues that I didn't realize until later on in the process. As I mentioned, I was doing a live demo in a class. I was helping students get ready and I was distracted and I got this eye in the wrong spot. But in an upcoming video, I'm going to share with you how I noticed those proportional issues, how I fixed them, and how I made it look like I didn't make those mistakes at all.